Well, first, congratulations on your trip to China. It's truly a trip of a lifetime. I know you're going to enjoy it. If you've been there before, you know what a great adventure China is, and I've been twice now, and those of you who've been there before, you're going to love it as much or more the second time, and those of you who haven't gone, wow, what a trip. You're just going to have a great time. All right, so getting down to business. When dealing with consumer power, there are really only two variables to consider. One is the voltage, and two is how to get to that voltage. In other words, the plug configuration. So first we deal with the voltage. The voltage in the United States is 120 volts. That's the voltage that comes out of the outlet. In China, it comes out at 220 volts. So yes, it'll burn up. An appliance that's not stepped down in voltage, in other words converted to 120 volts. But bear with me, we're going to cover that. So you're thinking that they need to step it down using an internal device, but don't be so sure. Let's take a look at an alternative. We'll deal with the adapter in a minute, but first, and this is hugely important, let's look at these power cords. So this is the power cord and charger for the Dell laptop that we brought to China. We brought the Dell laptop so the kids could watch movies. We brought a cell phone. We brought the Nook so that the kids could play games on the plane and throughout China on trains and whatnot. We brought a 35 millimeter camera that needed charging. We brought this video camera that I'm filming this with that needed charging. So we brought quite a few electronic devices that needed electrical care, shall we say. Anyway, this is the Dell laptop charger cord, and if you look at this cord closely and you look inside that box right there, you'll see that it says input. There's some Chinese characters and it says AC, and then you'll see 100 to 240 volts. Input 100 to 240 volts. That means there's a converter built into this box. This box will accept any voltage at 100 to 240 volts. It'll run the appliance and it will not burn it up. So you can plug this in to the United States wall adapter, or you can, outlet, or you can plug it in China to 220, and it will run and it will not burn up. Let's look at a few more. This is the charger for the video camera that I'm using. It's a Panasonic video camera. As you can see, it plugs right into the wall, of course, right here in the United States. Let's look closely again. Now here it says US and Canada 120 blah, foreign 110 to 240 volts. That's the same as the input we read just a minute ago. Foreign 110 to 240. This will not burn up the battery. It'll charge it just fine, and it'll operate as it's supposed to at any range from 110 to 240 volts. Let's look at something else. What's this? Let me read my label here. This is our Nook charger. This one's a little harder to read. This is a little flip out. All right, so you can see it's a Barnes & Noble charger. And on there, let me try to get the light right. I think you can see that. Input 100 to 240 volts. Same thing, inside this little black box is a converter that will step down that Chinese electricity from 220 down to 120. It will not burn up the Nook. This will work just fine. This is from our cell phone, our LG cell phone. Take a look at that one. All right, input 100 to 240 volts, same thing. We can charge the phone with this, won't burn it up. All right, this is curling iron of my wife's. This one's a little harder to read, but it says on the inside there, and after I read it, I'll try to get it to where you can see it. I think it says input 120 / maybe 240. Let's see if we can get it there. Yeah, you can see that it says 120-240-AC. So, and then next to that you see hertz and watts and whatnot. That's not important. So this also will run, not burn up, in China. Now in the alternative, here's a hair dryer of my wife's that we didn't bring, and I'm about to show you why. On this one, the specs for it are not on the little black box here, but they're actually on the side of the hair dryer itself. So if you look at the side of the hair dryer, you can see where it says 125 volts AC, 60 hertz, and then you've got the wattage. All right, if you plug this into a Chinese power outlet, it will burn it up. It does not have the capacity to run 220 because it does not have a converter. Okay, let me move all of this out of the way. So the thing you need to do is go through all of your devices that you plan on bringing to China and do the check that I just showed you to see if they'll convert. And chances are that they will. If it doesn't have those input specs, then you need a power converter. And in that case, I recommend that you just don't bring the device. Converters are kind of fickle. They're expensive. I don't see the point in fiddling with them, but that's up to you, of course. So now we know that we probably don't need to bring a converter, that our devices will work in China, but the plug is the wrong configuration, and that's where our adapter comes in. So this is the configuration of a plug in the United States, right? So that's what you're familiar with and what you're accustomed to looking at. Okay, here's the configuration of a plug in China. Okay, that's the way it looks. The size, of course, isn't correct. This is what I saw this time that I had not seen before. This is a new plug that I'm starting to see, and you'll see down here on the bottom is the China configuration, and up top they have European round slots, and then they have these vertical slots for the United States plug. Okay, you still need to bring an adapter that I'm about to show you, because this may be the only plug that you've got, and you may not find these, by the way, throughout China. These are very new, so you may not find these sorts of plugs that have this American option. And also, if you do find them, there may only be one. There may one in the room. You're trying to charge and run a lot of devices. So anyway, I recommend that you bring the adapter. All right. So we have to get the power from that Chinese outlet with a different prong configuration to work with our US style plug, and that's where this adapter comes in. All right. This is the adapter that I used on my trip. Worked perfectly. It's worked perfectly for other people too. Now remember, this unit does not convert power. It merely makes it so you can plug a US configured plug into a China configured outlet. So if you plug in a device that doesn't have the built-in converter that I showed you earlier on the black boxes on those different appliances, it'll burn it up. Anyway, there's a link to this adapter underneath this video. So the way this works, it's really kind of cool, is you lift it up and look at the top, and it says lock, unlock. Okay, you slip it to unlock, and you see the prongs come out. And this is the prongs that you're going to use in China. Okay? Then you need to lock it. So you want to push it over to lock. Now, some of the reviewers on Amazon have said, you know, it was all squishy and it wouldn't work. And that's because they didn't lock it. And what happens sometimes is, you see, I can't push it over. It won't lock. And that's because you need to pull it out a little bit. Watch how these spring out just a little. See how that came out? Now you push it to lock, and now they're ready to go. So as you can see, these turn, right? So you can turn these to get them configured for the China plug, okay? So what you do then is you just take this little device. Let me get one of our plugs over here. You plug this into the wall in China, and you plug your appliance into the back, like that, okay? This red light will come on, and you're off and running. The nice thing about this adapter too is that it has a surge protector feature that in case the power surges while you're in China, won't burn up your device. Okay. Well, we just plug it in, unplug it, and of course it'll go like this. And it also has a feature where it'll work with the flanged plugs. So this is the curling iron that I showed you, and you can see that this has a flange plug on it, right? In other words, right here you can see that it widens out. That's not a problem. It'll work with this adapter. Just plug it right in. Works both ways. Plug it in, plug the adapter into the wall in China, and there you go. Now, when you're switching hotels or coming back to the States and you need to pack this little adapter up, what you do, and by the way, I don't work for this adapter company. I don't even know who these people are. I ordered it off Amazon, just like everybody else. Anyway, you take and you click this to unlock, and you push these prongs back in, okay? So you push it back in. I'm getting it so you can see it. It's not difficult to do. I'm just trying to get it so you have a visual, okay? And then you click it to lock, okay? And it's ready to go. So now it's ready to travel, okay? All right, you've got all the knowledge you need now. Have a great trip, and when you get back to the States, please come back to the site and let me know how my advice worked for you. Also, be sure to check the links on this site for other ways I may be able to answer questions you have about your upcoming trip to wonderful China.